Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Satan's goal is to have you give up on your faith. Now, there are times that even the strongest people get overwhelmed. You feel like giving up. I underline that word feel. It's just too much for you to handle. I've been there. Maybe you have been there. Maybe you are there right now. It could happen from a tragedy, a terrible tragedy, and it just overwhelms you. It's more than you can handle. It could be a family issue that just never seems to stop. It's the same cycle over and over, and it happens again, and you reach the end where you want to give up on your faith. Well, sometimes it's just the result of the situations we get ourselves into. We go down a wrong path, and we just can't undo the damage we've done. And the enemy whispers to us, give up, give up. It even happens when God calls us, we take a step in faith in the direction God's calling us to, and we hit a wall. We don't see it happening. It looks like it's not going to happen. And the temptation, and it is a temptation, is to give up. David, God's warrior, strongest man in the Bible, killed bears, killed lions, and killed the giant Goliath. But in his life, he got to the end of his rope. He got to the point where he was overwhelmed, where he couldn't go on any longer. And towards the end of his life, he writes a song, a poem, and it's his testimony about his life. And as part of that song, in 2 Samuel 22, verse 17 through 18, he says this. Give it a listen. He, God, reached down from on high and took hold of me. He drew me out of deep waters. He rescued me from my powerful enemy, from my foes who were too strong for me. Do you catch those phrases? He was in deep water. Now, when you're in deep water, you can't touch the bottom. You're ready to sink. I think of Peter when he took a step of faith and he was walking on the water. He looked down and he started to sink. Sometimes we feel like we're sinking. And what happened? Jesus reached out and pulled him up. David says his powerful enemies. We have powerful enemies. Satan and his demons are powerful, and they are our enemies. He says, my foes who were too strong for me. David faced situations that were too strong for him. And you and I will face situations that are too strong for us. We're overwhelmed and we cannot go on. But he says, in those situations, when he's at the end of his rope and about to let go, he said, God drew him out of the deep waters. God rescued him from his enemies. And all of those things are David being passive and God being active. Because when we come to the end of our rope, when we come to the end of ourself, we find out that God is there waiting to rescue, to lift us, and to help us to move on. So we find hope in the place we least expect it, at the end of ourselves. God takes over. So, my friends, never, ever give up. When you reach what you think is the end, God will reach his hand down and he will lift you up. God bless you. See you tomorrow.